I've been hearing a lot of talk lately about Gen Z rejecting consumerism for Christmas, thrifting, homemade gifts, skipping Black Friday altogether. Let me give you my Zillennial perspective on that. But really quick, I just want to say welcome to everyone who found me from the consumerism video. That one took off, and I appreciate you being here. And before I get into the rest of the video, be sure to comment your thoughts on all this, whether you're Gen Z and you're doing this too, whether you're a millennial who's doing this as well or not doing it, or if you're any other generation, whatever it is you're doing with Christmas gifts this year or holiday gifts in general, I'd love to know. Make sure to also give this video a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe, like all the people who joined during the consumerism video. And last but not least, feel free to join me at the Zillennial Nexus Point Discord, where we can keep this conversation going. But anyway, what got me thinking about this and why I wanted to give my 2 cents on how I handle gift giving, how I've handled it over the years, and how I do it now, was a Clownfish TV video called Gen Z is broke and slashing Christmas spending. They brought up the trend of Zoomers ditching Black Friday and embracing thrifting, DIY gifts, all of that. I wanted to give my take as a Zillennial. Like I told people at Thanksgiving or reminded them, I was literally born 3 days too late to be a millennial. Anyway, in the video I was talking about, Neon made a point about how people had systems throughout the year to make Christmas gifting work. What he talked about was this thing called a Christmas club, which is apparently a way of saving up money all throughout the year, like earmarking or putting aside a little bit every week for it. Now, the very first episode of The Simpsons shows how a working class family in 1989 handled that. Marge had the literal jar of money for Christmas gifts that, spoiler alert, she ended up having to use that to get a tattoo removed from Bart when he went and got one. But getting back to the main point, I've basically been doing a Christmas club, as they called it, for 15 years without realizing it. My original system from about the second half of middle school into high school, and I think a little bit into college, was to buy everything on Black Friday. The strict per person budget, and I had personal rules like no gift cards and no drinkware. That last part is still a rule for how I give gifts to this day. So I'm never going to give any friend or family member a glass, a drinking glass. That is never going to happen. Now, I did give gift cards in the past, but today I'm not really big on that. I'm like, give them more freedom for that. Or if there's a digital game I think they should play, I would buy them the download code and give it to them directly. Okay, I just remembered I did give a Nintendo eShop gift card as a gift back in 2021, but that was the last time, I swear. But anyway, over time, at some point after college, I think it was, I forget exactly when, I spread the saving all over the year instead of one big rush from, again, early September to late November or early December. Because starting in 2018, I started skipping Black Friday, at least for gifts. That year, I had a phone interview for an internship I didn't get, and I did all my shopping over 2 days in the second week of December because I had zero college finals that semester. All of the finals were replaced with presentations before the actual final exam period, so for context, there would be a 2 hour window for classes that meet on these days of the week at this time. But instead, a lot of professors would use the tail end of the actual classes to do like a final presentation or something, and then you didn't use the final exam period. And then in 2019, I had a job interview at an actual place for a job that I, spoiler alert, did not get. But I did make a pit stop at Target to pick up an Apple Watch that was on sale. And then I bought the gifts later in December. I think that might have been the first year that I started using Amazon to send direct to family out of state. Black Friday 2020. I had a shift at the instant gratification job that year, so I skipped shopping entirely and then did all my Christmas shopping in mid-December and all of that. And then Black Friday 2021, that had to wait because Black Friday was the day of my high school reunion that year. The 5-year reunion, 6 years after graduating, because I graduated high school in 2015, and I'll let you connect the dots for why 2020 was a bad time for that. Anyway, that year, on top of the Omicron variant of COVID, that was the reason one of my friends didn't go to our high school reunion. I decided to lock in December 10th as the day to order everything because back then there were a lot of anxieties about whether things would get there in time, and I was hearing rumblings about you have to order early. So I decided December 10th would officially be when I order every Christmas present plus the birthday present of a relative whose birthday happens to be on Christmas Day, using no rush shipping and adding on gift wrap. But I did it for everyone, not just the relatives who live out of state. Basically, if you did not live at this house with me and my parents, I sent it straight to the person because I had no idea what Omicron would do in regards to holiday gatherings. And I realized I prefer doing it this way. This is how I give gifts. And so that brought about the way that I do things now. So I think I've talked about in my subscriptions video how I divide annual renewals into 1/52nd of the total amount that I put aside every week. And then the first payday after the renewal, I put aside the first 1/52nd plus the remainder, and then 1/52nd every payday after that. So now I put aside 1/52nd every single day, payday that is, starting on the first payday after December 10th. And I do that every payday, like I do with my annual memberships or subscriptions, until the last payday on or before December 10th. I've also increased the overall budget as a result of new people added, but it's still manageable because the savings are spread out, like the Christmas clubs that Neon talked about. Yeah, I'd say this whole system removes the stress of saving for the most part, assuming there's no big unforeseen expense like in The Simpsons pilot, needing to get the tattoo removed. But if, let's say, I had my wisdom teeth extracted a lot closer to Christmas and that whole thing wiped out my bank account, yeah, that would be a different story. It would be a lot harder to double, triple, or quadruple up until I was back on track and then go back to normal. All right, last year was a little bit of an exception for this system though, because I had a trip to Florida and I ordered everything a week early, which happened to fall on Cyber Monday because of that trip to Florida last year. See, I wanted to make sure I had everything I needed, or I wanted to make sure I knew exactly what everyone's gifts were going to cost, because I realized that if I do that and then note them in the spreadsheets, then I could earmark more money for my spending budget during that trip. And it's not about choosing cheap gifts to pocket more for myself. It's about liking the feeling of finding quality gifts at a good price. Hey, there's always going to be some amount that I pocket as a result of that. Like on Black Friday, I actually had to order my grandfather's birthday present because that happened to be the day to order it. I chose my no rush shipping option for him, and I got a $2 digital reward credit. And I was able to put some money back in my pocket as a result of having ordered it and knowing exactly what it is going to cost. So there's that. Now, here's where I deviate from the trends that Clownfish TV was talking about. I don't thrift. I have not been in a thrift store in about a year now since I went to donate stuff. I don't handcraft gifts, and I don't browse small local shops. I generally buy through Amazon. Well, that's all I do for gifts. Like I mentioned in my getting my money's worth from subscriptions, it's the central way that I order gifts because they have the gift wrap option and I can send it straight to the recipient. So I don't have to deal with storing it, wrapping it, etc. I only have to deal with storing it when it's for my parents because they're the only ones I live with. That's beside the point. The point is, it's cute to say, I'm thrifting and supporting small businesses. But realistically, most people don't have the time, transportation, or crafting skills to make that sustainable. Now, my method has been accused of being soulless because of how quick it is and how 90% of the time I never even see the actual product, like the actual gift. Like my cousin's husband has told me about how he uses a power bank I gave him for, I think, the first Christmas where I added him to the gift list. He used that power bank for his job. I'm really happy about that. Unfortunately, it got recalled and I had to tell him about it so that he could dispose of it properly. Getting back to why it's not particularly soulless, I think carefully about each person. I pick gifts within the budget and I tailor it to them, or I think about whether this will be something they will enjoy or find useful, and if it's within the budget, I order it. Amazon's convenience gives me more hours to actually enjoy the season instead of having to walk around the store, peruse it. Okay, you could say I spend a lot of time in front of a computer, but once I have it secured and once I've gone through checkout, it gives me more time to watch Christmas movies, decorate my tree, or go out to Christmas events if I really want to. The stuff that really matters. And hey, it is really the thought that counts, so as long as you actually think about what you are getting someone, like you're actually thinking about what they enjoy or what they will find useful, there's nothing wrong with using a more convenient option and outsourcing something like gift wrap to Amazon, or on top of that, the digital reward credits I mentioned earlier. When I choose no rush shipping on December 10th, it's a great way to pick up more movies for my Apple account through Movies Anywhere. I have to use it on the Amazon Prime Video digital store, but as long as I get it from one of the studios that participates in Movies Anywhere, it'll show up on my Apple account, which is where I prefer to have all my movies. Or I consider that the central movie library for me. Like if Movies Anywhere wasn't a thing, I would use Apple every time. Now, to be clear, if someone loves thrifting, handcrafting gifts, or really wants to support small businesses, that's their decision, and I respect their decision. I don't particularly disagree with other people doing that. I believe in doing what works for you, just like I said in the previous video. I believe that if you have the money and choose to spend it the way that you see fit, that's your choice, and I respect your decision, even if I disagree with it. My problem is putting these approaches on a pedestal and shaming people who use Amazon's gift options. Because, like I said, if gift giving is about thought, then effort should be measured in intentionality, not how you go about it and not based on the quantity of errands you run. As a Zillennial, my system is a mix of practicality and sentiment. I want thoughtful gifts, but I want a process that does not eat my life. Just like how I want a curated music library, but I don't want to deal with CDs, at least large quantities of them. And I certainly don't want to have to pay a monthly fee just to access a bottomless array of music. I prefer the old-fashioned iTunes approach of buying albums and individual songs so that you have to actually think about what you are getting. But hey, like I said in that video and others, do what works for you. As long as you're not intentionally insulting the recipient, your system is valid. And I will say, I have appreciated handcrafted slash homemade gifts in the past. Like a couple of years ago, my uncle gave me this Die Hard ornament that was from Etsy. So I guess you could call that a small business or something like that. Handcrafted as well. Something independently made. It was this great ornament that was basically a little tray with the image of John McClane holding the lighter in the air vent. And what you're supposed to do is you stick a Christmas tree light through this hole where the flame is, and when the Christmas tree is lit up, it looks like it's actually the flame from the movie. So yeah, there's that. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap it up here for the video by saying Christmas is stressful enough, for the holiday season in general, whichever you want to call it. I say pick the method that actually gives you time to enjoy it for giving gifts. If you're giving gift cards, cool. If you're going out of your way to thrift, support small businesses, and all that other stuff I mentioned, I respect your decision. If you want to do what I do and order on Amazon thoughtfully, choose gift wrap and send it straight to the other person if possible, by all means, that's what I would recommend, but you do what works for you. So, thanks for watching. Be sure to comment which method you prefer or what you do. Give this video a like. Subscribe for cultural commentary and rants from a man caught between generations. And feel free to join me at the Zillennial Nexus Point Discord. Thank you for watching. I'll see you soon.